there is a shift that will happen eventually when we have surrendered enough, when we have done work on ourselves enough, when we have confronted the shadow enough. And that is that life will start to seem like it's coming out from us instead of at us. I've noticed this in myself, like there's still this tendency in me to want to analyze or categorize or maybe register, experience what happens. And so this is really a sort of residue of ego, of believing that we sort of have to analyze and categorize and register everything that is happening in our experience all the time. But what happens here is that we feel like we're being attacked by something. We feel like experience is somehow against us. So it creates this sense of unsafety in the nervous system, in the body. And we become this sort of separate self that feels like it needs to sort of protect itself or guard itself from this scary experience that is sort of attacking us. And I have lived most of my life like this, and I know that most people live their lives like this. Some people live their entire lives like this, not able to surrender, not able to sort of flip that switch, or to sort of not finding the courage enough. And some people are living healthy lives, I guess, but there will still be suffering happening. There will still be an idea that I'm this separate someone inside experience here, and I need to defend myself against. I need to stand my ground. I need to be on guard if something happens. So there's a switch that tends to happen, that seems to happen, at least in my experience, where that whole illusion, that whole lie, is being seen as that. It's being seen as a lie. It's being seen as something that we can sort of learn to not give into. We don't have to analyze. We don't have to categorize. We don't have to register everything that happens, to sort of keep track of everything that happens in experience. We can actually learn to just sort of allow everything to be exactly as it is. And it's in that allowance of, when we allow everything to be exactly as it is, where that sort of shift happens for me. So as I sink deeper into this, it feels like energy coming upward and then going outward. Like I said, it feels like I'm sort of creating this. It feels like all of this experience is coming from me. I am this experience that is happening here. Totally out of control. I have no idea how this works, but I don't have to maintain anything. I don't have to do anything. I don't have to guard myself or defend myself, because there's nothing to defend myself from. It's just seeing what's been here all the time. And then being courageous enough to never sort of give in to that tendency that want to analyze, that want to defend itself. It's just learning to sort of see the tendency or the mechanism that goes into that, goes into trying to uphold a center, trying to guard, trying to sort of do all those things. So there's a way for us to sort of learn to find that sort of surrender, find that stillness. There are a bunch of different pointers that point to the same space. But one that has been really beneficial for me is, there are two things actually that I've been practicing for a very long time, and one of them is just learning to feel the body. Learning to feel the body, learning to feel the sensations everywhere. All the tingles that happens in the sense field in the body. There's aliveness here. There's something that is moving in the body. Like if you feel your hand like this, you can feel tingles or you can feel movements inside your hand. And perhaps you can't, and that's okay. It took me a very long time to be able to learn to feel this, because I was so stuck in my head. I was so mind identified that I believed myself to be this analyzing, registering, guarded self that needed to categorize and keep count on everything that happened all the time, label everything. I was so identified with that I couldn't properly feel. I probably went decades without feeling my body properly. So I couldn't really feel these tingles. It actually took me quite a while when I read Eckhart Tolle's book, The Power of Now, I believe it was, or A New Earth, one of those two, I can't remember which one. And then he sort of gave me this practice, and ever since then I've sort of allowed my attention to sink deeper into the body. First I couldn't really do it. It took some time for me to be able to feel my feet properly. But then after a while I started noticing this sort of energy, the sensations just moving through, sensations in the body, just tingles, right? Like something is definitely moving here. Aliveness. And I'm not doing any of that. I can allow all of these movements and tingles and everything to come and go exactly as they want to. I'm not in control over any of them. And that feels very good. It feels very calming. It feels very soothing to the nervous system. So I can take that one step further too. It's like, okay, if I sit and feel all the sensations in my face and back of the head and lower back and on the shins as well, calves everywhere, typically where we maybe not so much point our attention that often, but we sort of learn to explore every area of our body until we can feel our body as one, not this is the hand, this is the arm, this is the whatever shoulder, but as one. It's one sense field, and I am that, and it's happening here. And then I can inquire and ask myself, okay, so if I'm not doing these tingles, if these tingles and movements, aliveness, happens on its own, where are they coming from? Can I point my attention in the direction of where these movements seemingly comes from? Can I rest my attention there? It's like nowhere, right? It doesn't exist. But I can certainly rest my attention there, even though it's nowhere. I can point towards it, but it's here, right? And then I can sort of just allow that movement to take over, to take the steering wheel of my life, really. Just a really beautiful way of surrendering, of learning to not categorize or analyze, or learning to detach from the mind. And then another way, which is also included in the same space, these are different pointers into the same space, but it's learning to rest our attention 50-50 in the sense of hearing and the sense of sight. So normally we probably take in information with, like, I don't know how much information that goes into our sense of sight, but it probably is 65-70% of our attention is directed, or sort of, I guess, we take in information mostly through our sense of sight. That's what I'm trying to say, right? And then maybe 10-15% of hearing, or 20%, and then I don't know how many percent rests that goes into touch and smell and taste. But if we put our attention 50-50 in sound and sight, there's also something beautiful happening. It's like a widening of something. There's a spaciousness that happens. And we can learn to rest there as well. And everything just becomes more fascinating. Everything just becomes more open, and it has this underlying sense of joy to it as well. Experience becomes joyful. It's very pleasant. And so we can combine these two. We can combine this spaciousness that opens up with our attention in 50-50 in sound and sight, and then also all the sensations in the body. We can combine this and rest here as well. It might take some practice to be able to do. It took me quite a while to be able to sort of detach from thinking and come down into experience, or maybe up into experience. I don't know how you'd like to phrase that, but it's sort of just learning to see what the mind is doing, right? The mind is trying to analyze and categorize and fix and solve and resist and come up with problems that doesn't even exist and all that. And when we are able to establish our attention in this way, in the body, in the sense field, in experience as it is, sound, sights, colors, shapes, everything, sensations, it's easier to see where the mind is, where in experience our mind is, where it takes place. It seems like we're sort of, the mind sort of covers experience up. It becomes like a blanket of experience. So we believe that whatever's happening in the mind is the main thing, but it's actually just a response to whatever is happening here that is real. There's a sound and then the mind says, something about that. But we believe that the mind is the primary experience, when in reality it's not the primary experience. It's just a narrator to what is already happening. But it sort of seems to cover everything up. So we walk around and we identify, like I was identified with this, I guess, habit, this mechanism for a very long time, this narrating voice. So I wasn't able to surrender like this. I wasn't able to allow experience to be really seen as coming out of me instead of coming at me. Because that's the illusion that happens when we are identified with the mind, when we believe that we are this voice, this analyzing, categorizing, whatever. It seems as if experience is coming at us, and it creates this illusion that we need to defend ourselves. And this, in my experience, happens because we have dysregulation in the nervous system. We have things in the nervous system that we haven't been able to feel, that we have suppressed since childhood or since adolescence or anything, something like that. And so we believe that pain, it's still here somewhere. It's unconscious. We're not aware of it right now, but it's still here. It's still affecting us. It's still driving our tendencies and behaviors. So much so that we believe that we're being attacked by experience. So when we learn to surrender in this way, when we learn to feel all the sensations and learn to anchor ourselves in the spaciousness that is here, all of that will start to come up, and it may feel very intense for quite a while. But that's okay, because it's just like that sort of energy, that emotion, those feelings, those sensations in the nervous system that is just finalizing themselves. They have to come up and be felt and come out, right? And when that happens, we will be able to establish ourselves more and more and more and more in the spaciousness, in the silence, in this that is always here. And we will learn to detach a little bit from this sort of mental filter that it seems to cover up experience all the time. And that is, in my opinion, in my experience, what will make the world a better place. Because it makes your world a better place. You're not so much occupied in thinking about the past or worrying about the future, catastrophizing anymore. You're actually purging yourself of fear of all of these things that we've been holding on to. We purge ourselves of this. So instead of feeling like experience of life is coming at us, like we're a victim to this, we feel like we are creating this. And so we start to look at the world through a lens of joy instead, through a lens of fascination or beauty or awe or wonder, like we did as kids, right? Because we didn't have all of this stuff, accumulated stuff and tension and pain in the nervous system. So we didn't have this inner narrating voice trying to categorize and analyze experience all the time. We didn't have this. We were free. And that's what happens if we start doing this work, if we allow ourselves to sort of surrender in this way and learn to allow everything to be exactly as it is, which is very difficult with a dysregulated nervous system. It's, I would probably say, impossible, because there's so much tension here that it's impossible to allow everything to be exactly as it is, because it's painful. So that's why this sort of clearing is so important, because when we learn to clear this, when all this stuff comes up without resistance, we can learn to allow experience to be exactly as it is. And when we allow experience to be exactly as it is for some time, for a few repetitions, if you will, over time, we will learn to see that there was never anyone here doing anything. There was never anyone here living my life. There's not a person in here and then life happening out here. I am this. I am all of this. All the sound, all the shapes, all the colors. This field here, that is here. I am that. I'm not this person inside here, behind the face, or behind the heart somewhere where some tension is. This is just what the nervous system and the mind had sort of constructed a self out of, that I had been identified with, believing myself to be, chasing things in the future, believing that happiness was just around the corner all the time. Maybe I should do this, maybe I should go over here, maybe I should become a millionaire and then I'll be happy, right? All of these sort of things come from this believing in this illusion of a separate someone being here and then being attacked by experience. And all of this drops when we investigate this further. So there are actually two things that needs to happen. We have to see ourselves as this spaciousness, as this silence, as this ever-present presence that is always here, that never comes and goes, that is always now. And then we have to purge the body from all the dysregulation. And when we can combine those two, that's when things will really start to shift. And we will start to feel like a creator of life. Like I said, it will feel like I am all of this. It's coming from me somehow. I have no idea how it works. I can't switch it off, right? I don't have to uphold or maintain my hearing or seeing or me being here. It's just automatic all the time. That shift of believing that we are a separate someone inside experience into realizing that I am this experience, not separate from anything. It's me. I am this. That happens when we have learned, when we have seen the truth of the spaciousness, of the silence, and when the body has purged itself of dysregulation and trauma and all that sort of stuff. And that's when really the inner sort of noise, the chatter in here will start to significantly drop. And we can actually learn to just be enjoying silence as it is. And in my experience as well, like there's something very beautiful that comes out of this. It's like what has always been here, like our strengths, our attributes, if you will, that we have sort of been good at in life, will start to sort of come out in a much more authentic way. There won't be any thoughts about what people are going to think, or any people pleasing left, wanting to get along with people, needing to get along. All of that will significantly reduce and sort of vanish for this inner creative genius really to come through. And it's nothing special. It's not that we become something new. It's more like we remove that which blocked us from just being that all the time since we were kids. So that is really a shift that I've noticed in myself and what I have been practicing. And it's a really beautiful way to live. Life becomes very simple, very ordinary. It's not like anything changes. It's more like going back to what was always the case, what was always true, what was always real. And then learning to just, I guess, learning to navigate life like that, more open, more receptive to things, more sensitive, which sounds like a bad thing, but it's not. It can just be really intense to sort of get a hold of that, I guess. Real intense. If someone's like me, I had been like severely shut off emotionally for a long time. From childhood, I shut off my emotions. So learning to feel myself again, learning to feel all this sort of stuff has been very intense. And it can be very intense. And we can feel very sensitive. But that's a good thing. It's like fine-tuning a violin. It's like we're learning how to navigate life from this sort of openness instead of this closed, separate self kind of way that feels attacked by experience all the time, that is a victim to everything. We learn to open and we learn to relax. And that's when something just shines on its own. And it's a beautiful way to experience life like that. I wouldn't want to have it any other way. I wouldn't want to go back at all. At all. At all. If you're interested in music, I produce music. Go onto my channel and navigate towards my Spotify. It's Kimmen there as well, just Kimmen, with not a dot over the I. So just like just on YouTube here. And yeah, thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next one.